Hello and welcome to the Greater Reston Living Podcast, where we cover everything happening in Reston and Herndon. And today on our podcast, we are going to be covering one of the largest new developments. I know we talk about new developments in Reston and Herndon all the time.
All the time.
Because we are living in a very dynamic and changing area. But this new development that's been proposed, or that's in the works, we should say, is one that's going to significantly expand the Reston Town Center area. But this one comes with some new infrastructure that people have been clamoring for, and some updated infrastructure, Kathy. But before we get into that, we need to cover some other things that are happening. Let's get started with Phenomenal and Bar, new Vietnamese pho place, right?
If you like pho, we're getting another one. I'm pretty excited.
This is happening where?
It's over where Voodoo Brewing is supposed to be at Maker's Rise in Herndon.
Yeah. So for people who don't know, that is just south of the toll road. So it's Sunrise Valley Drive. And it's all the way west as you go toward the Dulles Airport direction, right? And it's going to be near Innovation Station. That area is kind of blowing up. There's some, a lot of new new apartments and townhouses, stacked townhouses in those areas.
It's steps away from the Herndon Monroe Silver Line, and the same complex as where Voodoo is coming.
Yeah, and I think it's replacing. There was a Vietnamese restaurant there, but I think it's replacing
Vietnamese?
that. Yeah, so it's replacing that one. Apparently they gutted the whole place and are turning it into a bar. So more bar forward, I guess. It's like
less
a bar
casual
restaurant.
Yeah.
So at least there'll be something happening over in that area. That'd be good for that neighborhood, I think.
Yeah. What they're saying is going to be more like a Vietnamese dinner and craft cocktail destination with a late night vibe and feel.
Yes. And it's going to feel how, Kathy? Is this...
I'm going to be really, really excited because this is going to be pretty phenomenal.
Phenomenal. All right.
Phenomenal.
Cool.
I mean, it's so much fun.
Yeah. All right. Well, cool. So that we have to wait for that to come. And but I think that's coming soon, right? Isn't it opening up? The latest on that? Opening soon. This one used to be from One Loudon. So anyway, we'll get that fully announced once it's fully open.
I know the date on that one. So.
Yeah. Well, okay, we got another restaurant coming. This one is more of a fast food style restaurant, but also an Asian restaurant, Panda Express. What's unique about this one coming in Herndon?
It has a drive-through.
There you go. So it's the old Burger King, right? It's the old Burger King that was on Eldon Street.
I think it's kind of down the street a little bit from Mom's Organic.
Yeah, from that big plaza there.
I haven't
Virginia
been
Kitchen.
to Burger King in a very long time, but I do remember that being there.
I saw people were excited about this. I'm not a big Panda Express guy, but hey, if you're craving it and you want to drive through and bring it home, take away, what have you, might work, right?
Construction is underway on that, and that is opening. Well, they're saying it's opening in late July.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So okay. What I miss?
Oh, come on now, Graham. We know that the town's mascot is a bear named Eldon.
Okay.
Yes.
Eldon the bear. Yes.
And now there's a panda moving in. So Eldon will not be the only bear in Herndon.
In town. Okay. Yes. Okay. That sounds good. So
because the more bears, the better, right?
Exactly. Love it. You gotta love it. Anyway, next one that we've got is one that I think we broke the news on this one. MOTW Coffee and Pastries coming to South Reston, it looks like, right? this is a place that is coming to the Point at Rise, I think it's called, something like that. It's an apartment building. It's a big apartment building for folks to know where this is. This is near where the Popeyes is. That apartment building has a Reston kebab, a super chicken, maybe a haircut place. A few little retail stores are in the bottom, so it's one of those mixed use type of places. And
It's across from the National Golf Course too.
Across from the National Golf Course.
Yes.
You see a lot of people walking across the street there in Reston Parkway to get the Wegmans, kind of jaywalking across, but it's in that area right there.
Yeah.
So yeah, bringing a new coffee place. This is going to be one that brings Yemeni chai, lattes, Arabic pastries, and various desserts. And they had a drink that you wanted to try.
I'm going to be there to try this one. So they say their signature drinks that people are raving about, the honey lavender latte. And I just think that sounds super fun. And the Biscoff latte.
Biscoff latte. Yeah. That's those little biscuits, those little hard cracker biscuits kind of thing, cookie biscuits.
Okay. And the Yemeni, am I going to say that wrong? Yemeni chai. So, but I'm going to go for the honey lavender because I just think that sounds super fun.
There you go. Yeah. So we learned about this one. There's apparently a sign application in for this and some job openings for baristas. So this one, we don't have an actual date, but presumably coming soon if they're looking for people to work there already. Yeah. So
what's exciting about this and, other places that we've talked about recently is that we have a growing international food scene around Reston and Herndon. So
yeah, and a growing coffee scene because we've got tons. Last year was the year of the coffee
shops and bakeries.
I feel like last year, what year are we in? 2026. But I
think
it feels like in 2025 was the year of the coffee shop and the bakery. We covered a new bakery, a new coffee shop every other day. And so, 2026 still bringing that momentum.
Yeah. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, that'd be cool, especially in that area. I think there's more apartments and things. Not only that particular apartment, but the ones that are being built at Haley Rise across the way. So need some more things in that area to keep the people living there fulfilled. All right, and this is another one that is kind of sneaking up on us. This is over at Reston Station. Founding Farmers, it looks like they have submitted an application to the Virginia ABC for a license to open up distillery operations at the Founding Farmers. Now, this we kind of have to treat a little bit more like a rumor, I guess, other than the fact that there's a pending application out there for distillery activity. But here's what we know. I've reached out. First of all, I have reached out to the Founding Farmers themselves, and we have not received comment back. So maybe they want to try to keep this a secret, but we're spilling the bag. And so they do have Founding Farmers has a number of restaurants in the DMV area in particular, and they do have a distillery component at one of their DC restaurants. So it's like a combo restaurant and distillery. Maybe not unlike the Open Road Distillery that we have here in Reston Town Center. And so they have been making their own spirits too. So in doing a little digging, we noticed that, they've got, I think, their own vodka, gin, and
I'm seeing some
whiskey.
rye whiskey and dry gin.
Yes. So they got a lineup of different spirits. They make a lot of their cocktails with those spirits. I guess they're going to be bringing some kind of distillery operation over at Reston Station now in conjunction with their existing restaurant. So it'll be interesting to see what they're doing. Hopefully, if we get word from the founders at Founding Farmers, maybe we'll be able to report on an update, but stay tuned for news and info about that one. Interesting stuff happening, Kathy. Always something happening.
It's so hard to keep up on it all, but we're trying.
Yes. All right. So that brings us to our big story of the day. This one is, we mentioned at the top, this is about Reston Town Center North. So we've talked about Reston Town Center expanding, right? First, obviously, if you've been around Reston for as long as we have, you've seen it expand from just a couple of blocks to a much larger place with multiple plazas and so on. Most people watching this podcast are familiar with the Reston Town Center and its growth. But then more recently, we've had RTC Next, right? So we've been covering a lot of the things happening in RTC Next. That's the area where Skymark is and the AC Hotel. And then, of course, all these new restaurants have been opening, and we've been covering some of those, including the Paris Baguette, the Clarity, Dogfish is coming later this year. Lots of good stuff. Lots of good stuff happening over there. And then last year, we also teased the fact that there is going to be an expansion to that RTC Next, right? So even more, they're going to double the size of what is already there at RTC Next to make another portion of RTC Next. So
but
the town center's been expanding.
Different. This one is different.
This one is different. This is now called RTC North. Okay. And this project is just north of the existing core town center, I'll call it. And Kathy, I'm going to pull up the map for folks to orient themselves. While I'm doing that, can you give us a rundown of what the general gist is for this project?
Okay. Well, it's 48 acres, and it's over where the Reston Regional Library, the Embry Rucker Community Shelter, the North County Government Center, the North County Human Service Center, the Sunrise Assisted Living, and the Inova Reston Herndon Emergency Room.
Right. So for folks now, I've got the map up, and you can see here's the town center, core Reston Town Center, right? We got Reston Parkway over here. We got Barron Cameron to the north, and we've got Fairfax County Parkway over here. We're talking about the area that Kathy just laid out. That's basically bordered by Barron Cameron in the north. And then, oh man, I forget the name of this road. Fountain Drive.
Okay, yeah.
Right? And then Town Center Parkway and Bowman Town Drive.
Where the library is.
Yeah. And actually it's New Dominion. So really it's taking this entire section. Well, I don't even need to draw that for you, but let's go to my next screen to share. And let's look at the way these blocks are laid out. Let me zoom out a little bit first so we can see them all. So this New Dominion Parkway, this is what I think is really interesting here, Kathy, is we've got the existing library is right here between these two blocks. So basically what they've done is they've broken down this region. There's a lot of complicated land swaps going on, first of all, as background. So part of this land is owned by Inova, the medical group hospital, Inova Fairfax. And part of this land is owned by various agencies within the Fairfax County government. And so there's some land swaps that are going on to make all of this possible. And so then once those land swaps happen and everything is laid out legally, then what they've done is they've broken it up into these blocks and built a grid network or a proposed grid network for how to maneuver through all of these blocks. And then each of the blocks are being allocated with specific development types, right? And so right now we're at the phase where they're laying that out, getting approval for it, and getting approval for what goes in which blocks. But we're not yet at the phase where we're really seeing like designs pop off the page, where we know exactly what the apartment building that they're going to put in there might look like, and so on and so forth. So we're really looking at it from a planning point of view and allocating all of these blocks so that then new applications can come in for the developers as they develop each block. But the first round of blocks will be what, Kathy? The public services that are available, right?
Well, they're saying there's going to be at least 1.6 million square feet of mixed use development and up to 1,000 residential units. And that's going to be along the 3 blocks by Fountain Drive.
Yeah.
And then
So
they're
right
going
here,
to
block
be
2, block 4, block 6. Yeah.
Thank you. And then they're going to be adding, we're going to get a new public facilities, a rebuilt Reston Regional Library, a new Embry Rucker Shelter, then relocating the North County Human Service Building, a future elementary school, because we keep talking about how many people are, the new developments, and people are always talking we need more schools. So there you go. They're going to have a recreation center and an athletic field.
Yes. So a
Oh.
lot of the infrastructure. Oh,
Yes.
and you got
I'm
something
not
else?
done. I'm
Okay.
not done.
Okay. Keep
There's
going.
gonna
Keep
be-
going, baby.
Here we go. Yes. So there's going to be 10 acres of open space anchored by 3.5 acres of central green. The green space is designed for concerts, events, and lawns, shaded sidewalks, restrooms, and a bike share spot.
Yes. Okay.
There's a lot going on there.
There's a lot going on at this. And I mean, really, people need to understand that this is not happening overnight. This is going to be, maybe a 10, even longer year project happening here. Let's go through a couple of the things that I think are unique and interesting about this, other than the list that you just read off, right? One is the library right now is located here on Bowmantown Drive. And it's basically going to be removed completely, and a road connecting the existing Reston Town Center with Reston Town Center North will be put in. So what you'll have is the ability to cut across New Dominion Parkway from Library Street. And Library Street is the street that is just near the Look, like J. Crew and the Look movie theater and the South
Ted's
Moon
Bulletin.
Under corner, right? And so I know a lot of people walking through Reston Town Center, and I walk through Reston Town Center all the time, and I forget the names of all the roads, other than Market Street, let's say. So this Library Street is the main road that goes north-south right through the core of Reston Town Center. And so now it'll be connected up to Reston Town Center North, or RTC North, as we're calling it. And they're going to remove the existing library, right? So completely gone. In its place will be the athletic field you mentioned in Block 7 and the rec center in Block 8. Okay, then we're going to hit Bowmantown Road. We're going to cross over Bowmantown Road, and Library Street is going to meander its way and continue through as it goes through all of the various blocks until it hits Barron Cameron far up in the north. And this is where we're going to start to see some of the residential come into play. We're going to have the new Embry Rucker homeless shelter come into play there, and a health and human services building. And this is all sort of next to the existing Fairfax County Government Center North area, right? So that's not going to be touched, really, the Fairfax County North, but it's going to be linking up, so to speak, with some of these other core services that the county has, right? And the Embry Rucker Shelter and some health and human services activity. And the library gets moved over to the Town Center Parkway, okay? And it's going to face this new central green you're talking about.
Yes.
So I think that'll be cool, a new state-of-the-art library as well. And then ultimately, longer term, I think some of those are the first wave of things that they're looking to do. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, Kathy, I don't know if you have it in your notes, the library and the shelter, I think are going to come on by 2029, if I'm not mistaken. That's the goal for them. So haven't seen what they're going to look like yet, but it will be interesting to follow that development. Meanwhile, let's see if I have it on this other map here. Getting into that green, let's dig into the central green. So this would be interesting, I think, because this central green is a new public space for, Restonians to gather in, right? And I think if I'm gathering this correctly, this will be a true public space, not a public-private space.
So like a town square, Graham? Like a town square?
Exactly.
Where we've been talking about where people can gather and...
Yeah, true town square. While right now, obviously, the pavilion in Reston Town Center is a town gathering spot, right? And it's probably the de facto town gathering spot. Lake Ann Plaza, another good town gathering spot. One of the difficulties, though, is these are private spots. They're not pure public spaces. And I think
so this one will be public.
I think so. I think I have to dig through it a little bit more, but I don't think any one particular developer is going to be owning or running that central green. So that'll be interesting. Theoretically, I don't know, different things can go on there that you might not be approved at a private public space, like the Reston Station Plaza or Reston Town Center Pavilion or even Lake Ann Plaza. Okay,
I imagine you'll still have to maybe get permits. I don't know. We'll
yeah, I'm sure of that. I'm sure of that, but probably more through the county than it would be through anyone else. And then I'm just drilling into this green a little bit because do you have that list handy of the things that you said this green would encompass?
The green space is designed for concerts, events with lawns, shaded walkways, restrooms, and a bike share spot.
Yeah. So, okay, cool. Because like you can see sort of here, a little amphitheater style for the concerts and events, and an open green here in the middle, and like lots of meandering. It's not just, simple paths. They're kind of meandering paths you can walk through. I'm sure there'll be lots of cool benches and areas to sit and so on.
Lots of trees so that it'll be shaded. Especially because today is what, 105, 100, I don't even know.
Find me some shade.
I'm melting outside.
We all are.
Yeah.
I know, right?
It's not fun.
Yeah. And so, like we said, rounding this all out, you said you talked about the potential school, future public school here, which would include school fields, things like that. Over in Block 2, this, I believe, is where the Inova emergency room services are, things like that.
I've been there plenty of times with broken feet and sprained ankles. Thank you.
Once or twice, right? But that's plenty,
Enough.
I guess. I guess that's plenty. But Block 2 is going to be the mixed use residential. So there might be shops and things like that, but predominantly we're talking about residential. And then Block 4, same thing, smaller area. You'll notice there's little tree save areas that are already identified. And then there will be in Block 6, another mixed-use residential and parking. And so I think this Block 6 area is going to be a little bit larger. But they did say that no buildings would be... So, for example, any height to the buildings is going to be allocated to the outer edges, closer to the core of Reston Town Center, the core town center, and not encroaching on the central green. So anything getting closer to central green.
You wanted to mention that. So the proposed heights range from 40 feet near the central green and up to 220 feet on blocks 5, 6, and 8.
So for perspective on that 220 feet, they said no more than the height of the existing Paramount condominium that is, right now on the corner of, I guess, Bowmantown Drive, right? Or no, sorry, that's not on Bowmantown. Yeah. Sorry, it's on New Dominion down
Oh,
here.
we both got it
Um,
wrong.
yeah. Well, you were right. Fountain. It's Fountain in
Okay.
New Dominion.
Look at me.
There you go. So
So
there
what
is a
so
lot happening with
the
this.
design board and the design board and residents have pushed back on two things. They're not wanting, and I think this is what you just were mentioning, not wanting tall buildings crowding up around the new green, and the concern about the 180-foot building sitting about 37 feet off the park, and questions about the parking, especially during the big events. So they want to make sure that it
Yeah.
can, this new RTC North can handle
Yeah, I did see that they
all
were
the proposed.
proposing street parking for all these roads or for many of these
Hmm.
roads. I'm not a fan of that. I feel like, right now the Reston Town Center does have street parking. Most of the parking is happening in the garages off to the sides, things like
And
that.
they're full. The garages.
They're filling up.
Someti-
They're filling up.
Yeah.
But people, there needs to be a way to keep the parking to a minimum, I think, and hide it somehow. But it would seem difficult. Certainly with some of the mixed use buildings, they're going to probably have parking for those specifically. If you have a residential apartment or condo, then you're going to park in the garage within that area itself, not on the street. But for visitors, I think maybe one of the larger buildings, maybe on that block 6, would include some parking for everyone, for the public. But here's just an overview of what it might look like. This is actually coming from the Barron Cameron perspective. So this is from the north, looking south at the core of Reston Town Center, right? So here's the core of Reston Town Center back here. And then they're highlighting where the different blocks are located, and with some, a high level view of what, the heights and what kinds of apartments are expected. Interesting, this school looks like they've got multi-story school. We're used to like the 2-story elementary school type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
This is looking like more of an urban style school, 3-4 stories here, with a field. So it's going to have its own field. And then back over here in Block 7, closer to the core of Reston Town Center, where the existing library is today, is going to be, another field, a public field, soccer field. And then there's be a rec center and some other mixed-use buildings all along the side there. So what are we thinking?
People are I just want to mention where the school is proposed to be. That's right across from Trader Joe's.
Yeah.
And then you were correct, Graham, with the new library and shelter. They're targeted for delivery in 2029.
Okay, good. So, and it looks like I don't know how much this rendering is going to matter, if they're going to redo it or not, but a different kind of a design for the library here. Could be interesting to see. What do you think about this project overall? Come on. I want your opinion, not just the facts. Lay it out there.
There's a lot going on. So, and I know people are, concerned about all the new development and growth happening. So it's just Reston. We always say Reston is changing, and it was always meant to change. I think it's going to hit on a couple of key things that people really want, which is more green space and the new library and more schools, because we do have a lot of, people coming to the area. So that will lighten the load in some of the other local schools.
Yeah.
What do you think, Graham?
Yeah. So I think it's kind of interesting in the sense that, like you said, the infrastructure is coming that people have been asking for, or updated and new infrastructure. So it's a combination, updated from the old library, the old shelter, and those will be modernized and hopefully reimagined in some ways, right? Libraries are, that's a whole different podcast on, what libraries should be. But maybe they'll come up with something innovative and interesting, and more people want to go there. And but combining that with the school and the government center being there, it's kind of reflective of the growth of Reston and much needed infrastructure. Having a public square, I think, is going to be really cool. I like to see
Because
that
we
they
need more concerts because
like-
we've got a ton of them.
Yeah. I mean, I like to see that they added the the bike share even. I know it's a small detail, but you know, thinking about as things like expand from the core of Reston Town Center, you can start to see more people saying like, "Oh, I'm living in this one apartment. Yes, I could walk to the core of Reston, but why don't I hop on one of these bike shares? I'll be there in 4 minutes instead of a 12-minute, 15-minute walk, you know, that kind of thing." It'd be interesting to see. I like it. I'm a proponent just because, you know, it's the core area. I like to see more improvements to roads and things like that. I know a lot of the commenters talk about the traffic and everything. I think that's probably the root of most people's upset with new development is the traffic. If we could get some traffic relief, I think more people would like to see, you know, updates like what we're seeing here.
And we also did have somebody comment on our pod who it was a public service announcement. She was like, "Can you please get off your phone when you're driving?" So
Okay.
I feel like we should just share it. Like, yeah, put your
Shout it
phones
out.
down.
Shout
Put your
it out.
phones down when you're driving.
Yeah. All right.
Be aware.
I think we covered quite a bit today, Kathy. If anybody is out there and you like what we're doing, I'd love it if you'd give us a like. Let us know in the comments what you think about this project, what you think about any of the stories that we covered today. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And if you want to keep up with this, all the events that are happening in Reston and Herndon, I want to encourage you to subscribe to our community newsletter where we cover everything. And yeah, and Kathy and I are Reston and Herndon real estate experts. We would love to be the person that you seek out when you are thinking about making a move in or out of our area and or in Northern Virginia. So give us a shout. And with that, stay cool, Reston. Stay cool.